the occasion of World Refugee Day, Syria demanded support for its efforts to ensure a dignified and voluntary return of Syrian refugees who were forced to flee their country because of the war, a case that Damascus denounces as being politicized by the host countries themselves. Our correspondent, Hisham Wanous, has more.
The
International Conference on the Return of Syrian Refugees, held in Damascus in 2020, and the subsequent 4 joint meetings of Syrian-Russian ministerial committees are part of the work being carried out by Syria with the support of Russia to put an end to the suffering of Syrian refugees and displaced. A work that the Syrian and Russian authorities denounce, in addition to the inaction of the United Nations, clashes with the refusal of Washington and its European allies, who are blocking the return of the refugees to use their suffering as a pressure card in the service of their political agenda against the Arab country.
The world community and international organizations, led by the United Nations, must press for Western countries to lift all sanctions, allow the return of refugees, and support the facilities offered by the Syrian state to ensure a dignified return of its citizens, as well as to stop policing the case of the displaced and to support the reconstruction process of the country.
The obstacles imposed by the host countries have not prevented the Syrian government from encouraging its citizens, who according to the UN figures amounted to 6.5 million, to return to their homeland. The National Reconciliation Program, the 20 presidential decrees of general amnesty, the reopening of several border crossings and the rehabilitation process in the destroyed areas have facilitated the return home of more than 1 million refugees abroad and nearly 5 million of the 7 million internally displaced persons. Damascus affirms that the work does not cease in order to recover the country's human potential.
A large number of refugees return to the country, as most of them wish to return despite all the obstacles imposed by the host countries, since the government offers them all the facilities available to them, and we hope that this return and all the work to achieve it will be successful with the support of allies and other friendly countries.
On World Refugee Day 2022, the United Nations stresses that everyone has the right to seek protection, no matter who they are, where they come from, or when they had to flee. The principle that although Syria applies to almost 500,000 Arab refugees, in particular the Palestinians, that it hosts in its land under the same conditions as the Syrians, it regrets that it does not apply to its citizens who suffer mistreatment and exploitation in the host countries.
Hisham Wanous, teleSUR, Damascus, Syria.